staying powered up wherever you are is absolutely crucial in an age of electricity, electrical power. So whether you are traveling the world or just sitting at your home, it is, in this day and age, just nonsense to not have a few backup generators if you have the money for it. And while there are, of course, some reasons, as I mentioned, not being able to afford generators, and they are not cheap things, anyone who can afford it is making a big mistake, because they clearly do not realize just how fragile the national infrastructure is in the US, in Canada, and other parts of the world. There are international adversaries like China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, who are constantly trying to dismantle our power grid through a process called probing. This is one of the most prominent and concerning problems right now. This is the most concerning emergency situations that we're facing. And probing is essentially a deliberate, visible attack that allows these nations to, they're doing this as an experiment and as a test in order to watch us and how the local utility companies handle repairs and handle how we handle the situations, how we fix things up, how we get things back to normal and operating condition. And by monitoring how we deal with these circumstances, they can design even a more sophisticated viruses and hacks so that they can execute the real strike and take us down for good or for the long term. These strikes that will bypass the original procedures. So this strategic threat is exactly why you need multiple generators to protect your family, both from international attacks and natural disasters as well. The stuff that we typically prep for. In some regions, the power might only go out for a few hours, like most parts of North America and Europe. While in places like Puerto Rico and parts of Spain and many other parts of the world, it can vanish for 12 days at a time. So even if you live in an area where outages are short, you should still maintain a selection of equipment, a variety of things. So a high quality gasoline generator, for example, is an excellent tool for this. But you should always use premium fuel. This is not the situation with a car. I tend to buy very old, beat up, worn out cars. They're not fancy, and they only require regular. But these generators require the highest quality. And for this purpose, a reliable Honda generator is an excellent choice. A Buffalo Sportsman propane generator is also another excellent option, because propane can be stored indefinitely in a backyard shed without issue. Propane remains effective regardless of whether it's 100 degrees or 2 degrees outside. And then there's solar generators. These are also highly valuable because they're very quiet. They're silent, actually. They're safe for indoor use, and they easily charge when the power is on. The only disadvantage of solar generators is that you need sufficient sunlight. So if you're somewhere in the Pacific Northwest or the Atlantic Northeast, pretty high up in the equator, from the equator, or pretty far south. I guess there aren't a lot of places that are actually cold down south. So up north, then if it's going to be too cloudy all the time, then don't bother with it. But if you're living in a sunny place like Texas or Utah or something like that, and you have, you could be, if it's like a place where you have almost like over 300 days of sun every day, where it's partly cloudy at the best, at worst, then that makes a solar generator excellent and very reliable. just less effective in rainy areas. So this underscores the necessity of owning these different fuel sources of gas, propane, and solar options, so that all your resources are not tied to a single method. It's just like your emergency funds. Anything emergency, you need backups of backups. So a high capacity solar unit, like a 15 watt model, is much more useful than a tiny unit for maintaining essential appliances. During a recent powder outage, I know somebody who used a Honda generator with an extension cord to successfully keep a fridge running until the electricity returned. And one reason to use a Honda generator during a shorter outage is the necessity of keeping gasoline and propane units in good working order. So these generators should be started at least once a month to ensure that they are still working. And as many people find their equipment fails after sitting idle in a garage for years, right? So it's best to set a calendar reminder to run these generators for about 20 or 30 minutes monthly, just to make sure they're working, because the last thing you want is spending $1,000 on a generator and then the day comes where you need to use it, the power is out, or there's some catastrophe and it doesn't work. So yeah, and then you can also check the power levels on these generators too. And this is good to do because if you have kids, sometimes people find that their kids actually play with their generators and they sometimes drain the power. And so a quality solar generator features various inputs for charging, like the USB ports, multiple standard plugs, and a cigarette lighter style outlet, and then other standard power outlets as well. Actually, pretty much all generators have at least one of these, or I should say one of each of these things. Sometimes they have multiple power outlets. Some models also include a built-in flashlight. It serves as a helpful bonus for navigating a dark house during an outage. So these solar units should always be stored in a temperature-controlled indoor climate. You don't want to just keep it stored, outside all the time. Extreme elements, 100 degrees in the heat, exposed under the sun with no carport or anything like that, or just outside when it's during the winter time when it's freezing, it's minus 14 or something like that, and it's snowing. And so, keep it indoors, in your basement at least. There are certain kinds that can be stored outside in the weather. If you start them monthly to check that they're still operating, right? But solar systems belong inside the house because you're not using it. You only charge it when you're using it. A complete system typically includes the necessary cords, and so it comes with the cords in the battery pack for connecting to solar panels, which can be easily unfolded for recharging. And when buying solar panels, it's better to purchase more than one, because believe it or not, some people own a nice solar generator, but they only have one solar panel. And that doesn't make sense, because it's just going to make your charging inefficient for such a powerful piece of machinery, right? A powerful piece of equipment can take in more energy at a faster rate. So why not have a couple couple panels to more efficiently give that energy? So you'll have quicker recharging. The generator will be able to handle it and transmute that energy or transmit it. And also these are serving as backups too. You can get smaller generators that are not particularly rugged, but they're still useful for camping trips. They can still power a fridge. And if there's a need to plug in a fancy air mattress or other devices and gadgets, a solar generator will do just fine, even if it's a small one. So to wrap this up, investing in a quality generator is essential because keeping the lights on for your family is one of the priorities. And, a solar generator like a Jackery is a significant investment. It's not cheap, so it's better to invest in it now if you can. Start saving up for something like this. There are many solar generators available, but it's important to buy something that will last, a number of years, because you may not need to actually use it for a while. But given the current state of the world, it's likely that power issues are going to become a long-term problem instead of just short-term malfunctions, domestic issues and complications. They're going to come from international threats. So while a ton of gasoline might be kept in reserve, where a situation might exist where a large amount of propane is stored, solar generators have the potential to outlast those fuel sources. So it's worth getting one, and to learn the same methods that special forces and intelligence operatives use to keep power running. And this is one of them. I'm giving you information from people of the intelligence community about this. So have a good rest of the day, and make sure to keep those lights going.